Now on CoastTV News.
The Lewes-Rehoboth Canal, why a boat business says new dredging will make traveling this area safer.
People enjoying the beach as another swimming advisory is issued.
Riding waves, how this one-day surf camp is helping children with autism.
Well, we'll be back to 90 degrees today with humidity. Now we're tracking the threat of a few storms through the evening. More heat and humidity in our Thursday with yet more storm chances. We'll track the showers and storms to our west coming up.
This is CoastTV News at 5.
Boat travel on the Lewes-Rehoboth Canal. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. We begin tonight with the coast's latest dredging project.
The Lewes-Rehoboth Canal is a waterway for commercial and recreational boating, and even some research vessels. Soon, it will be home to the next multi-million-dollar dredging project, thanks to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. As Coast TV News reporter Emma Aken shows us, those on the water say the work is much needed.
This is the Lewes-Rehoboth Canal from above. For boaters on the coast, it's a mode of travel and livelihood. And the Army Corps has just granted $9.6 million to dredge the canal from the Freeman Highway Bridge south to its entrance at the Rehoboth Bay. Fisherman's Wharf owner H.D. Parsons says the shallowness poses a threat.
Right now, the safety isn't there because of the depth of water. Somebody thinks they're in good shape and they speed the boat up. Next thing you know, they hit the bottom and people get hurt.
On the other hand, Parson notes that allowing water to flow better in the canal could lead to flooding. The Army Corps says the project will remove about 90,000 cubic yards of sediment from the canal. Phil Gettle with the Freedom Boat Club says bridging the coast together is important for fun and business.
Being able to connect Lewes, Rehoboth, and Dewey and Longneck, like kind of connecting all the towns, is really important for boaters or fishermen, kayakers, paddleboarders, is about everybody.
And just about everybody includes research vessels and the Delaware Bay and River Cooperative, which handles oil spill response and cleanup in the Delaware River and Bay. For now, the water may not run deep, but to many, the impact does. Dredging work has to be done between the months of October and March to comply with environmental rules. Right now, it's scheduled to begin next October 2026, but it could start as early as this October. Reporting in Lewes, Emma Aken, Coast TV News.
Back in 2024, dredging work on the same canal took place, but more so in the Lewes area between the Roosevelt Inlet to just south of the Freeman Highway Bridge. Here's video from that time. It took about 5 months and cost $1.8 million, according to the Army Corps. That dredging moved about 40,000 cubic yards of sediment.
In Bethany Beach, a swimming advisory was in place over 24 hours. It just ended at 4:30. DENREC says Monday's sample of the ocean found a 400% increase in fecal indicator bacteria. This is only an advisory. People were still allowed to go in the water if they wanted to, but people with weakened immune systems are at a high risk of getting sick from water contact. One visitor telling Coast TV she's making the most of her visit to the coast no matter what.
You only get a finite amount of time for vacation, so it was either the pool or this, and I feel like they both have bacteria.
Great answer there. The advisory is now cleared after DENREC found samples that have normal rates of fecal indicator bacteria in Bethany Beach. Governor Matt Meyer has signed a series of bills aimed at combating property reassessment. The bills passed after an hours-long special session on Tuesday. 7 bills in total were passed. According to Governor Meyer, the legislation creates fairer tax rates, gives homeowners flexible payment plans, and even provides refunds for people who overpaid. Lawmakers say the changes will also keep school funding intact. However, at a press conference, Republican leaders expressed concern over what they call a rushed process with rules suspended to introduce and vote on bills in the same day. This brings us to our Coast TV poll. Do you think the legislation passed on property reassessment is enough help?
Let's take a look at the results so far. I'm curious about this. Well, 65% say yes, and 35% say no.
And we do have a comment from Robert Leonard in Lewes. Robert says the tax revenue from recreational marijuana sales should be enough to lower the reassessment tax on the property owners. Good point there. If you haven't voted yet, you can do that. You can also leave a comment at coasttv.com or use the mobile app. And we're taking a live look into Rehoboth Beach right now. Let's check in with our First Alert meteorologist, Chris Mastrobuono. Chris, it was a little foggy when I woke up.
Yeah, you know, we were dealing with that fog this morning thanks to that humidity. The humidity's back. It's back to reality. We had a high of 90 in Georgetown today, feeling like summer again after that cool stretch we had earlier this week. We're at 83 degrees right now in Laurel. You can see partly to mostly cloudy skies across the area. We're at 79 in Rehoboth, 82 to Lewes, 85 Georgetown to 83 Laurel. You can still see it feels like 99 in Milton, 99 in Redmond. It still feels like 93 in Georgetown. We have one little shower beginning to develop there across Lewes. Other of the shower activity is on the other side of the bay. We have severe weather north of Philadelphia. That's going to be the zone, I think, where we see severe weather tonight. We do have an isolated severe risk, primarily northern reaches of the peninsula, primarily Kent County on northward. Very isolated in nature, but we will see a few spotty showers and brief downpours through the evening. A very muggy night as we fall into the lower 70s. We could see some more fog by early tomorrow morning. We'll talk about more storm threats tomorrow afternoon coming up in that full 7-day forecast. Matt.
All right, Chris, thank you. Making waves and making memories. In Ocean City, hundreds of people gathered for the 28th annual Surfers Healing event, a one-day surf camp for children with autism. Surfers Healing started in 1996 and has now grown to impact so many lives. It's first started with the co-founder's son who has autism after taking him on a surfboard. That's when he knew his life mission was to have other people with autism experience the same thing.
I saw the change in his behavior. You know, the water had real, I'll say therapeutic properties to it.
According to the co-founder, this event couldn't be possible without professional surfers taking part, sponsors in the area, and families who all make sure every child gets this experience of a lifetime for free. Cambridge police are promoting safe driving for the city through proactive traffic enforcement initiatives. Police say this came about because of increased complaints from Cambridge members. After observing violations for 2 days, police say there were 35 traffic stops, which resulted in 15 traffic citations, 48 traffic warnings. One person was arrested on a warrant.
Since the first of the month, it's been legal for licensed stores to sell marijuana in Delaware, but a reminder from the Department of Transportation to all drivers. It's illegal and unsafe to drive under the influence of cannabis. Driving high is your ticket to a DUI. Drive safe, drive sober, and if you plan to go out while high, please find a designated driver or a Lyft service.
Ahead of his face-to-face meeting with Russian leader Putin, President Trump issued a warning. There will be severe consequences if he determines Putin isn't serious enough about ending the war in Ukraine. But Russia has continued its onslaught on the country, and as NBC's Yamish Alcindor shows us, that's why Ukrainian President Zelensky and European leaders today pressed President Trump to stand firm and not believe the Russian leader.
I'm going to find out where we are and what we're doing.
The president describing what he plans to accomplish when he meets with Russian President Vladimir Putin this Friday in Alaska, as President Trump tries to find a way to end the war in Ukraine. This morning, President Trump speaking to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders. They were not invited to the Alaska summit and are worried that any agreement made there could be disastrous for Ukraine and Europe. President Trump has said there may need to be some territory swapping between Russia and Ukraine, but that's a non-starter for Zelensky, who urged President Trump not to give in to Putin. Zelensky insists Russia does not want peace and instead wants to fully occupy Ukraine. Meanwhile, today, President Trump downplaying expectations for the summit at a U.S. military base in Anchorage. The president saying he will only have a second meeting with Russia and Ukraine at the table if he gets the answers he's looking for from Putin on Friday.
I would like to do it almost immediately, and we'll have a quick second meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky and myself.
President Trump eager to end the war in Ukraine and fulfill a campaign promise which has already proven to be a great challenge.
After months of Trump-led efforts that have yielded not a single concession from Russia.
And while the president prepares for the Alaska summit, his efforts to tamp down crime in Washington, D.C. are underway. The first round of National Guard troops are now in the streets of the nation's capital. A White House official said the guards are being deployed to deter crime, protect federal assets, and provide a safe environment for law enforcement officers to make arrests. Legally, the president's emergency powers to take control of the D.C. police only last for 30 days, and any extension must be approved by Congress. And today, President Trump said he was going to ask Congress for an extension, and he is confident that he will get that. Yemi Shalsendor, NBC News, the White House.
It was sentencing day for a former Salisbury University student in connection to a hate crime. Court records show a judge gave Brennan Aird 2 years behind bars after pleading guilty to assault. However, most of the sentence was suspended, so he just faces about 85 actual days. The 19-year-old is one of 15 former students accused of tricking and ambushing a man at an off-campus apartment in Salisbury. The victim believed he was meeting a 16-year-old for sex. It was kind of a vigilante justice situation there. Multiple charges, and a final suspect is scheduled for trial next Monday there in Salisbury.
A warning from Rehoboth police: be on the lookout for counterfeit bills in the nation's summer capital.
Well, we're tracking a few downpours this evening as well as tomorrow afternoon, but the good news is we dry things out and sunshine returns in full blast for the weekend. We'll talk more about that here in minutes.
First, hackers targeting college students. 5 scams aimed at Gen Z. That's up next.
This is Coast TV News at 5.
Gen Z uses their digital savvy for just about everything, but the ease of online transactions could leave them a little open to scams.
Karen Kafer reports on how scammers are now targeting young consumers and college students.
Gen Z has digital savvy, but may lack the experienced eye that can spot a scam.
Gen Z, their digital fluency is their superpower, and it's also their blind spot.
In 2024, the Federal Trade Commission says younger people ages 20 to 29 reported losing money to fraud and scams more often than older people ages 70 to 79.
That's why it's so important to let them know, hey, there's going to be emails that come to your inbox that might not be from who they say they are. That deal online for books might not be a real website.
With members of Gen Z headed to college campuses and responsible for more financial decisions on their own, Margarita Alvarez of Wells Fargo advises young consumers to verify who they trust, especially online.
Make sure that they're being very mindful of the interactions that they're making with any type of merchants, ensuring that they're viable, trusted institutions.
The Better Business Bureau's Melanie McGovern says text phishing and imposter scams that claim to be from a student financial aid office or offer a scholarship or promise a part-time job are popular among fraudsters and can swipe personal and financial data.
If it's something that's unfamiliar to you, you didn't sign up for it, the best thing to do is just delete it, get it off your phone so there's no temptation to go back and click on a link.
Also popular, rental scams. Asking for a credit card or a money transfer in order to see the apartment in person for the first time can be a red flag. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Also, take a live look into your Bay forecast. Cambridge and Crisfield tomorrow is going to be your hottest of the next 3, with scattered storms developing tomorrow afternoon. We'll track the storms this evening and have a look at Tropical Storm Erin in the Atlantic when Coast TV News at 5 continues. Well, after our cool start to August, it was back to reality today on Delmarva with temperatures near 90 degrees for most locations, and the humidity is back in full force. You can see we're at 82 in Cambridge, clouding up there with rain just off to your west. We're at 79 in Rehoboth, 77 Ocean City to 85 Millsboro, 83 Seaford, and we're at 87 in Milford. As I mentioned, dew points mid to upper 70s, so there's a lot of moisture for these storms to kind of tap into. So primarily, the primary threat here over the next 24 to 36 hours would be like localized flash flooding. See one of those storms just to the north of Dover near Smyrna pushing over the bay. Heavy cell there, nothing severe. Seeing some steadier shower activity on the other side of the bay. A heavy cell just west of Bucktown there, but all this moisture is kind of pushing to the east, all thanks to a weak trough. This cold front actually stationed over Cleveland through Cincinnati, that's going to be pushing in that area tomorrow, and this area of high pressure is going to be building in for the weekend. Now, as far as excessive rainfall goes, threat of flash flooding. Marginal risk for most of Delmarva. You can see that slight risk of excessive rainfall just off to our west. But tomorrow you can see most of the area in a marginal risk for excessive rainfall. Through Accomack County, you see that slight risk there. So we could be dealing with somewhat of a flash flooding threat tomorrow afternoon. As we push through the evening, notice the storms kind of overspreading the area. Not all that intense. Everyone's not going to see the rain this evening, but where we do see it, it could come down pretty heavy very briefly. Then as we go into tomorrow morning, waking up to some fog, partly sunny skies, and then we'll see more storms roll in tomorrow afternoon. We're at 70 to 75 overnight. Once we get the storms out, we'll turn partly cloudy, waking up to some fog, muggy, humid day tomorrow. Once again, reaching upper 80s to right around that 90-degree mark. Low risk of rip currents at the coast tomorrow, but watching for those afternoon showers and storms to bubble up between Lewes-Rehoboth, Dewey Beach highs. A muggy day tomorrow, mid to upper 80s. Feeling like at times 96 in Berlin, so heat indices tomorrow anywhere between about 95 to 100 before those storms do arrive, and then we will see more of an easterly flow kick in through the day on Friday. So Futurecast shows we're pretty dry at least through about noon tomorrow. I think after about 2, 3 o'clock, we'll begin to see those storms kind of fire up with the daytime heating. And again, it's going to be really drenching downpours. You can see one cell forming over Georgetown through Selbyville, and then those will kind of wane as we go into the evening hours, and then we are looking much drier as we go into Friday with more of an easterly wind. So humidity going to be around here pretty much for the next 7 to 10 days. We dry out a little bit Saturday, and then it kind of skyrockets as we go into next week. The latest on Tropical Storm Erin looking a bit more organized at this hour. You can see some convection kind of bubbling up there. Expected to be a Category 1 hurricane by Friday, entering a more favorable environment for development. Could be a major hurricane by the end of the weekend. Not threatening any landmass. Should stay east of the Bahamas, but as it curves northward, will kind of threaten the East Coast with a lot of surf. I think rip currents and dangerous swells are going to be a big issue for us mid to late of next week. We're at 90 Monday. We stay pretty dry through midweek with temperatures in the upper 80s.
Thank you, Chris. Be on the lookout for fake $100 bills. The Rehoboth Beach Police Department is alerting local businesses after a restaurant owner reported finding several bills behind his business. Police say they didn't receive any official complaints this summer, but encourage citizens to report any attempts.
Coming up tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network at 7, high school football as Cape Henlopen takes on Lake Forest, then catch the final score at 10:30.
And coming up next, Country Calling's schedule has been released when you can see your favorite country acts in Ocean City. Stay tuned on Coast TV News at 5.
We salute Alvin Buddy Simpson for his extraordinary 70 years in the fire service. In the early 1970s, he helped start the ambulance service in Greensboro, expanding emergency care for his community. He also chaired the restoration of the historic 1927 Hale Pumper, preserving a proud piece of local history. A Korean War veteran, Buddy served his country with honor and spent a lifetime serving others at home.
Spicer Brothers and Coast TV are honoring military persons and first responders serving Delmarva. If you have a family member, friend, or community member that you would like to nominate for a Coast TV salute, go to coasttvsalutes.com.
The full schedule for Country Calling 2025 is out now. Performers go on from 12:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Carrie Underwood is on the final performer for Friday. Saturday, Jordan Davis goes on after 8, followed by Luke Bryan. Sunday, it's Luke Combs. And we have that full schedule right now on CoastTV.com.
Closing arguments are being made in a federal courtroom on the fate of the immigration-based facility Alligator Alcatraz in Florida. A lawsuit claims the facility did not go through necessary environmental reviews mandated by federal law. A ruling in favor of the suit could indefinitely halt work at the site. President Donald Trump announced the 48th class of Kennedy Center honorees today. Those include country music star George Strait, actor Michael Crawford, actor Sylvester Stallone, singer Gloria Gaynor, and the rock band Kiss. President Trump, the self-appointed chairman of the board, said he will also host this year's honor ceremony. Here's a live look into Milford. One more check on your forecast after this.
Taking a live look into a mostly cloudy, muggy Milford, 88 degrees there. Expecting a few scattered showers and maybe a rumble of thunder later on this evening after about 8 o'clock. And some of those storms could bring some heavy downpours very briefly. Our umbrella winner, Michael Volpe of Millsboro, Delaware. You're the winner of our Paul Davis umbrella. You get your forecast anytime by dialing the First Alert Weather phone, sponsored by Broxton Mondalis Federico. And your 10-day forecast shows another threat of scattered showers and storms tomorrow afternoon. Not expecting anything severe, but some localized flash flooding is possible. We do cool it down into the lower to mid 80s Friday, and we are looking primarily dry and sunny through the weekend, and then we're right back up to near 90 by Monday.
All right, Chris, thank you, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
Inside Edition is up next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.